My name is Matthew Stringer. I work for LiveU, and I've worked for LiveU now for a little over 11 years. And at LiveU, we are at the forefront of cellular bonded video delivery. What I mean by that is by taking a video input, utilising all the network connectivity that you have available, whether it's public networks, private networks, satellite networks, binding all that connectivity together to give a reliable video transport from A to B. B being typically in a studio environment, or it could be now in a cloud environment for people to adopt more efficient, cost-effective and sustainable mechanisms of broadcast contribution, production and distribution. Okay, so there's lots to talk about. We're privileged to be involved in many sporting orientated projects. Specifically this year, what we've seen a migration towards is an adoption of people utilising LiveU more for more of the lower tiered sports to find a more cost-effective alternative to the traditional broadcast means by being able to utilise less people on the ground, just cameras with LiveU units that go to the venue, and then deliver that content into either a production studio where they do the production remotely, so they can take it all back to somewhere like here. They can then do the graphics, the commentary, production, all in a more sustainable kind of way, off-site as it were, without the big trucks and without all of the necessary equipment that's traditionally required to do a broadcast. So we've seen a huge growth in that for everything from golf to lower tier football competitions. Incidentally, we did one recently with BT Sport. So it's good to actually be here and be talking about that in more detail. But in essence, they're utilising LiveU to deliver to the cloud, and all that production is now being done in cloud workflows. So utilising software in the cloud to do the traditional production that you would do in a physical environment, benefiting from the reduction of those elements on both ends of that spectrum. So yeah, golf, we've done a lot with Speedway over this year. So British Speedway are now utilising LiveU by taking a more cost-effective and reliable way of doing their video output into their web subscribers. So it's great for these kind of lower tier sports that traditionally people want to watch, but haven't had the necessary exposure because it's not really been viable, or it hasn't been able to be viable but meet, I guess, consumer demand in terms of quality and the production that you associate to it. So being able to utilise LiveU and all the different things that we have that go with the video products, which incorporate production tools like video return, audio return, all the comms is taken care of. We can orchestrate things in the cloud to be able to scale up people's productions and even distribute it using LiveU Matrix. So when you combine, a few years ago, we were just a product, right? We were an encoder and a decoder. Now we're a complete portfolio of products, production solutions and services wrapped into that entire ecosystem. Yeah, so I think the big trends we're seeing are towards remote production, and not just the lower tier sports. I mean, we're starting to see more of the higher tier sports using LiveU as a contribution tool. I think what we're starting to see now is people utilising LiveU for more of those higher tier sports applications. So I definitely see the LiveU kind of products growing into the higher tier market for sure. In the way in which they're going to do that is going to be interesting, I think, because we've got public networks that we utilise every day. We have been for 15 years. When we started doing this, we were using 2G, 3G, and WAP, if you remember that, back in the day. And now, to see where it's come, we've got more efficient encoding techniques. We utilise HEVC now, so there's a lot of efficiencies at that level, and the connectivity is getting better all the time. So we've got, from those days, we're now up to 5G and even private 5G, and we're starting to do a lot of work in that domain for utilising both public and private cellular networks. So a mixture of 4G, 5G, all working together. We're seeing a lot of uptake of people utilising new satellite technologies like low Earth orbit options, things like Starlink or OneWeb. So I see the connectivity options getting better, and I think that means that we can deploy in more difficult traditional scenarios. So I definitely see the growth of 5G, private 5G for sure. I also see more adoption of content being produced in the cloud, whether that be produced in a private cloud, which we do. We have, like I say, we do that with BT Sport already, where you effectively build your own production environment to emulate what you've got in this big studio in a software orientation that you can then scale up, scale down and adapt as productions evolve. I see that growing. And as LiveU, we also acquired a company earlier this year called EasyLive. And we see a combined offering of both the contribution side and the production side, where we'll be able to offer production as a service in the cloud with LiveU contribution as part of that ecosystem. So bringing all that together, I think I can see 5G, private 5G, public 5G, all being utilised more on more sports, and I can see a more uptake of cloud production, both in private clouds, but also cloud production as a service.